My Attorney General has made clear that he certainly would not have ordered gun running to be able to pass through into Mexico. And I've made very clear my views that that would not be an appropriate step by the ATF, and we got to find out how that happened.
President Obama back in 2011 insisting that neither he nor then Attorney General Eric Holder okayed the now infamous Fast and Furious ATF operation. That operation had agents purposely allowed to sell licensed firearms to illegal straw buyers in the hopes to track the guns to Mexican drug cartels and lead to key arrests. But the operations quickly spun out of control, resulting in civilian and law enforcement fatalities. But now, more troubling news from a Judicial Watch report finding that one of the guns used in that November terrorist attack in Paris came from Phoenix, the base of locations for Operation Fast and Furious. And joining us now via Skype from my old stomping grounds of Phoenix, Arizona, Southwest Projects Coordinator for Judicial Watch, Mark Spencer. Mark, we appreciate your time. How on earth did a gun from Fast and Furious end up being utilized in the Paris terror attack? What on earth is going on here?
Well, you've got a lot of frustrated rank and file guys in law enforcement that are really tired of an Obama policy that it's ill-advised, it's dangerous, and it certainly is averse to accountability. And that's what you saw in Fast and Furious, which was typical of ATF management here in Phoenix. It was loose, it was dangerous, and it had serious consequences.
Well, back in 2011, CBS News aired a report involving the ATF whistleblower John Dodson, who gave insight into the culture of allowing Fast and Furious to start in the first place. Let's look and listen.
I'm boots on the ground here in Phoenix and telling you we've been doing it every day since I've been here. We just knew it wasn't going to end well.
Now, that was a first-hand account from 2011 warning it was not going to end well. Now, 5 years later, dire consequences of Fast and Furious continue. You at Judicial Watch have been in touch with people at the ATF. You talk about the rank and file guys, the regular guys being frustrated. So apparently there's a real rift between rank and file agents and the administrators who answer to the president and to the attorney general. I'm just wondering, what specifically you guys have found out? How do we connect the dots between what happened in Phoenix now years ago and what is happening overseas in terms of the terror attack in Paris?
Well, you had a specific operation based out of Phoenix called Fast and Furious, and really that was tied to a policing philosophy from ATF management. Once again, that was ill-advised, it was loose, and it was dangerous, where they would let guns walk across the border. The rank and file guys saw the consequences. We see it in our state, we see it in our border, and they clearly felt the impact of these loose guns and letting these guns walk clear across the ocean over in Paris.
Now, there is a lot more to Fast and Furious, and obviously this Paris story is disturbing in itself, but we know that a lot of these weapons, and you talked about the border and where Phoenix is and where Arizona is, sharing that international border with the Mexican state of Sonora. You have the drug cartels, and apparently another one of the rifles was tied to cartel leader El Chapo. Back in March, our parent website, Newsmax.com, reported when law enforcement raided El Chapo's hideout, they were able to find that rifle tied to Fast and Furious. So you have this situation in Paris. You've got the guns, and you talked about it earlier with Mexico. Where are we next going to find weapons that had some usage in Operation Fast and Furious?
Well, our contacts clearly have seen guns and weapons from Eastern Europe and China coming north across the border, so clearly it's not impossible for guns here to go south across the border and across the ocean. So what had happened here was the gun in Paris was traced back to an FFL dealer here in Phoenix. ATF agents go and talk to him. He said, hey, I sold it to this guy. He showed him the paperwork. They went out and talked to this guy. This guy said, yeah, I sold it off book to another guy. I don't have any records. By the way, should I be in possession of this fully auto? So here you have ATF agents that are being told by management, don't take enforcement action. Don't make anybody mad because we don't need another problem coming out of Phoenix. And so it was buried.
Well, we appreciate the fact that Judicial Watch is working best to unearth more information about Fast and Furious. Mark Spencer, tonight from Phoenix, we very much appreciate your time, and we know you'll keep us posted as any new developments arise. Thanks very much. Now, let's go back to the phones at 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629. You want to talk about today's major announcement from FBI Director Jim Comey that the Federal Bureau of Investigation would not recommend prosecution for Hillary Clinton. First up from East Meadow, New York, Andrea is on the line. Andrea, welcome to Newsmax Prime.
Yes, hi, JD. I wanted to say really fast that I don't understand in this investigation, the FBI investigation, they gave Brian Pagliano full immunity, but yet we never heard from him. He took the fifth 135 times in the Judicial Watch when he was on with Judicial Watch's lawsuit, but he didn't ever talk to the FBI. So why did they give him immunity? And how come we didn't hear from Guccifer? Guccifer was with had hacked into Sidney Rosenthal's email. And where is Guccifer? They say he disappeared. And did he disappear just like Jordan Ash, who was supposed to testify against Hillary Clinton and had a dumbbell fall on his neck? I mean, what is going on in this country?
You ask a question that people have to answer, and that's what we're going to try to do here on Newsmax Prime as the nights continue. Yeah, a lot more questions are raised by this decision not to prosecute than are satisfied. And Andrea, we appreciate it. About time for a minute. Jason is on the line, and Jason calls in from a place I know pretty well. One of my NC State teammates, Ed Calloway, hailed from Elkin, North Carolina. Hi, Jason.
Hi, JD. How are you doing?
Doing fine, sir. Got about 45 seconds for your comment.
Okay. I love analogies, and as I was watching the special report this morning, it helped me. I thought back to revolutionary times when we were claiming our independence. If a courier carrying documents, important documents to General Washington, if he stopped and made copies of those documents, and he nailed them to trees throughout the woods, and they found out about it, what do you think would happen to that courier?
I think that guy would have been taken out and shot, quite frankly.
Exactly. And I mean, that's basically, she's allowed all this to happen.
You know, Jason.
And not to mention her gun control
absolutely.
Opinion.
I just want to thank you, though. That analogy about revolutionary times was especially apt. But obviously, Mrs. Clinton gets a chance now to run for president after Jim Comey did what he did. Jason from Elkin, North Carolina, thanks for your calls. More of your calls tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern. See you then.